So talk to me about the transformation that you've experienced. Let's say when you first initially decided, you know what, I'm going to do this, these next 12 months, I'm going to make the best of it and travel. So the transformation from that point until you actually completed the 12 plus trips that you set out to do. So how was what was your mindset like before versus after, and maybe even your self-confidence?
Well, I didn't realize what I was chasing, but it was really that feeling of presence that I think had eluded
Mhm.
me for so long because I am somebody that lives in my head and I'm very anxious. So I'm always thinking about the future. And it's very hard for me to be in the moment. I mentioned I have those difficulties with meditating. And so when
Mhm.
traveling, you don't really have a choice but to be present, right? Because you're bombarded with new sights, new sounds, new smells, new textures, new everything. So you have to be present, processing all of that new information. You don't have the ability to be lost in your head because you're just in the
Mhm.
moment focusing on what's happening and all of this new sensory overload that you're getting. And so I
Mhm.
actually found that I really enjoyed that. I felt lighter when I traveled, and I didn't realize that that was why. It was because I was just focused on where am I going? What am I doing right now? What does the street smell like? Oh, that's new. I've never seen that before. And so it was a much more enjoyable way to spend the time than constantly, in your own thoughts, worried, doing those things. And that was what I was chasing when I was traveling. And so part of that transformation was in finding that joy in my own company and finding that ability to
Mhm.
spend time by myself and think, wow, that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. I don't need anybody else here to make that worthwhile. Like that was great just to ask myself, what do I want to do today? What do I want to see? What are the things I want to participate in? And I can have a blast doing that. I called myself my own best travel partner, right? Because I'm always down.
Mhm.
I'm always up for the nap.
Mhm.
Like it's always like, it's a really great way to develop that relationship with yourself in a fun way. And at
Mhm.
the same time, I also think that you end up realizing that even though you're alone or you're traveling alone, that you're going to meet other people along the way. You're not in solitude in this world, right? There's other people that you're interacting with on a daily basis. And so, because of that,
Mhm.
actually traveling solo allows you to have that deeper connection with people because you don't have the
Mhm.
buffer of somebody who speaks your language, somebody who's using your currency, somebody who you talk to as your safety net. And I think that there's no wrong way to experience travel, but it's definitely a difference. Like if I was traveling with a guy, I can kind of just relax. If anything happens, maybe he takes care of it. We have each other to
Mhm.
like debrief on.
Mhm.
Whereas when you're by yourself, you're like, okay, that was really cool. I kind of want to talk to somebody about that. And then you get into the taxi and you're like, that building, really cool, huh? How long's that been there?
Right.
And so now you start to get really, unexpected connections with people around you that you make you realize that you're never alone. As long as you're out there,
Yeah.
you're curious, you're putting yourself in a position to be interacting with others, you will be welcomed by the world. And actually, that's why I call it solo travel magic, because I found that the more curious that you are and the more open that you are, people really want you to leave their countries with a good impression of them. Nobody wants you to be like, that place sucked. So everybody's like,
You're right.
they want you to be like, did you eat this? Did you do that? Did you try this? Like they're really excited for you to have the best experience. And when you're by yourself, they'll usually invite you to different things. So I had a 9-person Italian family invite me in their car to go tour the monasteries of Meteora before that time ran out, right? And that was a really fun experience with them. I had an opera dedicated to me in Florence where I got there early and I spoke with the performers. And just by virtue of having been interested, talking to them beforehand, at the halftime, they announced a change to the show and dedicated a special song to a lady in the front row. And so it was to me. And then they just
Oh.
like sang and serenaded me. And I think that this is what happens. It's just because I showed up and I was like, hey, what's up? I'm early. I know I'm early. Ah, silly American. and so, um, and so just by talking to them, they were really happy to share, what is this venue? How long have you been opera singers? How often do you do this show? And I think that that helps because people see that you take an interest and people want to share their life's passion with you. Like most people really enjoy what they do and they're excited to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just so many ways that I found that you can manifest that solo travel magic just by virtue of taking the leap and putting yourself out there.
I love that.
have you
Yep.
done what you needed to do as a woman, which was really tough because I felt like I'd accomplished everything else but this thing, right? I was successful as an
Mm-hmm.
attorney. I had, I'd done all the right things, it felt like, and it still felt like I'd failed. And so
Mm-hmm.
I was grappling with that throughout the year, grappling with how I dealt with men generally,
Mm-hmm.
how I related to men, what I accepted from men, and really struggling to find my own self worth, which I wish I could say that by the end of the book, like, magic happened and I just checked the box. But it's really been an ongoing process still to this day,
Mm-hmm.
where I work on it day after day and try to tell myself that I am enough, that I am, you
Mm-hmm.
know, happy with where I am and in my own company. And it has to be something that you're okay with constantly practicing, because if you allow yourself, there will be a lot of external moments. I think especially for women, right? You attend other people's
Yep.
milestones, you go to other people's weddings, you see other people's baby
Yeah.
showers. I just saw friends yesterday that I hadn't seen, and I'd gone to their wedding, and I spent a couple of hours with them and their toddler. And I was thinking to myself, because the wife, she was like, I never expected to be here. Like, I thought I would be like you. And I was like, I never expected to be like the rich aunt that's traveling. I thought I would be like you. so I think we
Yeah.
all have those pressures. And so it's just a matter of how can you enjoy every life stage as it comes. I'm still, hoping to find
Mm-hmm.
a partner, hoping to have a child one day. And it's taking me a while. And so, how can I enjoy my life in the meantime so I'm not sitting here in despair, like waiting for somebody to show up for my life to begin?
Oh, I love that so much. And I want this message and your book to like reach really far and wide, because one of the things that as I'm on the online space, I'm looking and I hate the way that young women are like living their lives, like just waiting for that man to come, or living their lives just to be seen and be chose. And it's just like, I get it, because to your point, there is a lot of pressure that is put on us from a very young age, before we even far before we get to our
Yeah.
20s, for us to become wives and mothers, and that is like the culmination of your success, right, regardless of what you've done. So I get the pressure, but I just want women, just live, keep living your life. And I love that you had so much self-awareness, and not only self-awareness, but you had forethought, like, no, I'm not going to just sit around and wait. I'm going to live life while I have it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just love that so much. So